to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on! The same distance he hit from in the Super Bowl to set a short league record. To make it a 2-score game. Moody! It is no good!
Oh, boy. Again, there's nothing like football. It can make your week or it could ruin it. It could ruin it. And for the Bay Area and for 49ers fans, it was ruined yesterday down at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Adam Amin on the call there for Fox Sports. 49ers fall to the Rams, 27-24 the final, as both teams move to 1-2 now. Season-saving victory for the LA Rams. There's no doubt about it. That was a game they had to have if they wanted a chance, really, just of anything, and not to be an absolute dumpster fire. And they could have rolled down in this game. They could have played possum. They were down 14-0 like that against the Niners in that first quarter. They didn't blink, and they had all the reason to. They were the ones without an offensive line. They were the ones missing Puka Nacua, missing Cooper Kupp. No more Aaron Donald. They're relying on a rookie, Jared Verse, out of Florida State on that defensive line. Tre'Davious White, he's a shell of himself in that secondary. Those are the only players I could name. And yet, they made more plays than the 49ers. They executed. Specifically on special teams. And this is a pattern now for Kyle Shanahan as a head coach here for the San Francisco 49ers. Special teams blunders. It happens every single year. And it feels like the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. Well, that's special teams under Kyle Shanahan. Have they ever had a good year where everyone's just like, oh, I'm not worried about special teams? In fact, I feel great about it. Every year, it's the same thing. The Rams, they executed on a fake punt. They scored. They got themselves back into the game. Disgusting, per Joe Shasky, who did a great job yesterday, by the way. I know Joe's fired up about this loss because he's here 3 minutes into my show. That's dedication right there. Maybe we'll have a makeshift crossover. Or now, you know what? This is Joe Shasky and Bonta Hill. I need to have unfiltered Joe at the 6 o'clock hour. And I say that now, and he might just ransack the show anyways. That's fine. I don't mind. But he did his own little play-by-play yesterday. If you're watching along on our Twitter feed or any feed for social, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. You can hit us up right now, actually. We're streaming all day long and all week long. Trust me, you don't want to go anywhere else for your 49ers coverage than right here on 95.7 The Game. All day long, we're going to be breaking down every single facet of this game and all week long as well. Baldy tomorrow, Greg Cosell on Wednesday. We got the best of the best of the best, sir. But Shasky was streaming it yesterday. I like that he ended it. All right, I'm done. Evan Giddings, Mark Grandy next. This is peak Shasky. And I felt that. That was a brutal loss for the San Francisco 49ers. In a game where Brock Purdy played his ass off. Juwan Jennings with the game of his life. 11 receptions, $175, 3 touchdowns. Guy was mossing people. Now, don't compare him to Randy Moss, Bleacher Report. I saw that post. It's like doing his best Randy Moss impression. I was like, okay. And they put the little graphic of Randy Moss on Christmas or on Thanksgiving Day where he had 3 receptions for like $170 and 3 touchdowns. It's like, all right. Well, Jennings had 11 receptions for 175. It's a little different. I love Juwan. Let's not be comparing him to Randy yet. All right. That said, he was incredible yesterday. Purdy was incredible. Extending plays. You know who wasn't incredible yesterday? Who was second team All-Pro? Who got paid $30 million? Who was supposed to be the number one guy yesterday with no Debo, with no Kittle, with no McCaffrey? Brandon Ayuk. That just wasn't good enough. 5 receptions, 48 yards. I get he was held on one play by Tre'Davious White. It would have been a big bomb. But far too often I saw drops. I saw balls that were slightly behind him, but you should still make the catch. That was a tremendously disappointing performance from one Brandon Ayuk. Now there's a pattern here. 3 games in a row. Let's pick it up. First 2 games, you let it slide. You're 1-1. Okay. Divisional rival, a battered and bruised Rams team that is without all the players I just mentioned. Their secondary. Can you name anyone on that secondary? Again, like outside of Tre'Davious White? I couldn't. But I come away from that game remembering some of these guys now. I was so damn impressed by Sean McVay and the Rams yesterday. That, for a team that has gotten owned in the regular season as of late against Kyle Shanahan, and albeit the Niners were without a lot of the weapons, but not on defense. Hufanga came back. Yes, no Dre Greenlaw. But Bosa, he was there. Hargrave, he was there. Charvarius Ward, he played. What was the excuse for the defense yesterday for San Francisco? Seriously, 27 points to Tutu Atwell? DeMarcus Robinson? Really? Now, Kyron Williams, he's a baller. But you allowed 24 carries, 89 yards for him, and he even tore you up a bit in the receiving game. Take a listen.
Williams once again into the end zone. Stafford audibles to another touchdown score.
He had an incredible front flip. I don't think that was the one. But he had just a day, Kyron Williams. That was the one guy you were supposed to stack the box against and not let him run wild. And he averaged 3.7 yards a carry. It wasn't like he dominated, but in the biggest moments, when they needed to get a first down, when they needed a chunk play, he was providing it. Matt Stafford, when they needed him to make a big play, he made it. Guy's still got an absolute cannon. Hell, Tutu Atwell threw a dime as well. I mean, if DeMarcus Robinson holds on to that ball, it might be one of the plays of the year. Couldn't secure it. It was out of bounds. But 888-957-9570. Good morning to all you lovely people just getting off work, getting ready for school. I want to hear from Niners fans today. What happened? Who's that loss on? Is it Shanahan? Is it the defense? Is it Nick Sorensen? It's damn sure not on Brock Purdy and Juwan Jennings. I am not listening to that today. But special teams, I keep going back to that. And it's Brian Schneider, who's the special teams coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. And yes, you want to talk Ronnie Bell. You want to pick on Ronnie Bell because of this play.
Purdy steps up, looks deep, Ronnie Bell cannot hold on. The problems that have plagued Ronnie Bell for his 2 seasons in the league creep up there. Could not hang on to that ball that hit him in the hands.
You said it, Adam Amin. Hit him in the worst place, the hands. Yes, you'd like to have caught that ball. Maybe you win the game if he catches that. But he didn't. And the fact that you were put in a position in which Ronnie Bell had to make a play late tells you all you need to know. So I'm not going to focus solely on Ronnie Bell today because I think that's a little disingenuous. I think that's a little unfair to him. The fact that you put it in his hands late is a product of what occurred the rest of the game prior to that. And I just keep going back to special teams. Cost you in the Super Bowl. No, not Steve Wilkes. No, it wasn't Brock Purdy. It was a muffed punt in the Super Bowl, which allowed Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and that Chiefs offense to score a touchdown, their only touchdown in regulation, to get that thing to overtime. And then we know what happened there. Special teams is anything but special in San Francisco. Just call it teams. I don't even know what else to call it. It was a bad loss for San Francisco. And twice now, 2 weeks in a row, Kyle Shanahan has been outcoached. He has been. Edgar, San Antonio. What's going on, Edgar? You're on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni. How you doing, man?
Hey, good morning, Spadoni. How you doing today?
Oh, man, it's NFL was just absolutely insane yesterday. I just want to talk about it all. How you doing, brother?
Doing all right. I'm just kind of trying to make it through the day. On my way to work right now.
Hey, Edgar, real quick. It could be worse. Andy Dalton could have thrown for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against you. Go ahead.
That's true. That's very true. But I'm just trying to figure out how we lost yesterday. It was a beat-up Rams team, as we very well know. In the trenches, that's where it starts. Offensive line for the Rams were beat up. We pay all this money for the defensive line, and they could not get to Stafford and pressure him on and on and on again. Our back end seemed like miscommunication all over the place. Out of Fred Warner, I don't know who they have playing linebacker right now. I really don't. D. Winters went down in that game. Offense seemed like they just couldn't figure out outside of Jerron Jennings. Purdy played an outstanding game, and special teams. You already know about special teams. So, to me, I'm ready to almost ready to push the panic button. Almost. I just know that there was a point in the season where we were 3-5. That gives me some hope, but we're not looking good right now.
It's not good. Edgar, I appreciate you calling in, man. 888-957-9570. I heard it in his voice. He's down, man. He's not ready to hit the panic button yet. No, you got the Patriots next week. They looked awful against the Jets, and we'll see. But at home, should hopefully handle your business there. Hopefully, I say. But after that, the 49ers schedule, it's not easy. Cardinals, well, they lost yesterday to the Lions, but they've been playing well, offensively at least. They've had a tough schedule, but that's never easy. Kyler Murray coming into town, he'll give you some fits. Then you got the Seahawks, who are undefeated. And I get it. Skylar Thompson's not Tua. They handle their business, but that defense is flying. And then after that, you got the Kansas City Chiefs, October 20th, who do what the Chiefs do. They win late, get the benefit of another call, which this one was absolutely defensive pass interference. Should have been ball to 1 yard line. Falcons having a chance there late. Didn't call it, but Chiefs are the Chiefs. I'm just going to leave it there. I'll get upset. I don't want to get upset. Then you got the Cowboys and then you got the Bucks. So after this Patriots game, it does get a lot harder. And even that Patriots game might be difficult. I don't know. I'm not giving the 49ers any benefits right now that they're just going to walk in and beat anyone. I thought even with all the injuries, even that Kittle's down, even that there's no Debo, McCaffrey, you still got second team All-Pro Brandon Ayuk. Juwan Jennings is a pretty good wide receiver in his own right. One of the more underrated ones in the league, and I think everyone saw that on display yesterday. Jordan Mason has been a baller. He averaged 4 yards a carry yesterday. This is one of the few times that Kyle Shanahan's lost a game in which they had 30 carries or more. It doesn't happen very often. They had 34 total rushes yesterday for 137 yards. That's 4 yards on average. And they lost. That doesn't happen. It only happens when you have mistakes elsewhere. Where'd you have mistakes? Defensively and in special teams. If you're not going to execute in all three phases, at least two of them should be good. And if two of them aren't working well, then you're damn sure not going to win the game. That's just great. Good offensively. If you're not doing anything on defense or special teams, it doesn't matter what you're doing offensively if you're Brock Purdy. So 888-957-9570. I want to hear from the Niners fans today. What went wrong yesterday? Who deserves the biggest portion of the blame for playing the blame game? Is it Shanahan? Is it Sorensen? Is it Brian Schneider, the special teams coach? Is it Ronnie Bell for you? Is it Nick Bosa? Is it Brandon Ayuk? Again, I was just talking about the offense. I don't think the offense is the problem, but 5 receptions, 48 yards. I can't not talk about him today because we talked about all the pressure heading into this game and who had the most to prove in this game. I think Brock had a lot to prove, and I think he did prove a lot of people. He almost threw for 300 yards, just 3 touchdowns. He was incredible. Extending plays, using his legs, which is what Steve Young, Hall of Famer, has urged him to do more of, and he did. But there were just opportunities there as well for the offense to cash in, and they didn't. Like this.
Defense.
Purdy lost the ball. It's loose. It belongs to the Rams. And it was Byron Young off the edge to knock it free.
Colton McKivitz there giving up the sack from Byron Young. And again, even Trent Williams, it was not his best performance either. He had a hold. He actually got hurt for a second, but ended up just being a cramp, I think. He walked it off. Something's just wrong with this team right now. And all the injuries, and you can go back to the Super Bowl, the loss, and just, having another down year because it's the Super Bowl hangover. I don't know what it is. So that's Kyle Shanahan.
I thought we had every chance to win that game. Also, we had a number of times in the game where we had opportunities to run away with it, especially early in the game, having that 14-point lead. And they hadn't really moved the ball on our D and starting with that fake punt. I think after that, I feel like he went like 8 of his next 10 or something like that. So that got him back in the game. There at the end, a couple want to go in and score on that drive. Obviously, a touchdown. We ended up getting a field goal. I believe it made it 2 scores. But then they went right down and answered with a field goal. Thought we had a chance to make it a 2-score game. We ended up missing that field goal. And then I think they got a bomb where they went down there right away. Didn't even make him really work for it. They got a big chunk. Got behind their defense too much today. Gave them some easy ones in that way, and you saw what happened at the end.
Jimmy, he's out in Dublin. He wants to join in the conversation. 888-957-9570. Rams 27, 49ers 24. Both teams now 1-2. The Seattle Seahawks leading that division undefeated at 3-0. What went wrong yesterday? That's just the question. What happened? Jim, what's going on, man?
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
It's going. We're rolling, brother.
Yep. So, man, the question is, where do I start? You can look at Bosa. There was no kind of pressure going on. It's like the Rams were getting more pressure on us than we were getting on them. Moody makes that field goal, the game's over. Ronnie Bell makes that catch, the game's over. They had Brock Purdy out there running for his life. Like you said, he was extending plays. And it really surprised me with his feet. He really did, the way he was getting out of those sacks and stuff like that. And then, everybody's saying how many injuries we have. They were without Cooper Kupp and the stud rookie from last year.
Puka, yeah.
So that's just a typical meltdown on the Niners. The Niners were up. They start getting, I guess in relaxed mode and blew the game. And I'm not even that confident going into the game next week against the Patriots because we just saw anything could happen. And if you lose to the bottom feeders, how are you going to be expecting to walk into, say when the schedule gets tougher and beat these better teams? And you have a good day.
Thanks, Jim. That's Jimmy out in Dublin, 888-957-9570. Taking your calls all day long right here on 95.7 The Game. We want your thoughts. We want to hear from you, the people. And you heard it from him there. I'm not giving them an automatic win against the Patriots. Now, I'll say this, not to get too crazy. This was a divisional game. Sean McVay knows Kyle Shanahan very well. Matt Stafford is a very good quarterback. Kyron Williams is a very good running back. I will give them that. That makes them dangerous. But when you're missing, like Jim alluded to, an all-pro in Cooper Kupp and an all-pro in Puka Nacua and one of the greatest rookie seasons we've ever seen, if not the greatest for a wide receiver, and there's no more Aaron Donald on the other side, Hall of Famer, the greatest defensive tackle in the history of the sport. What are the excuses? It's really incredible. Now, I keep going back to this game and just, how do the Rams win it? How? Shanahan, how disappointing is this?
I knew everyone was pissed without them having to tell me, and we should be. And when you have a game like that where you feel you have every chance to win and you don't get it done, those are usually the more disappointing ones. All three phases had their doing that. There was also times that a phase could take over and not even allow it to come to something. And I told them last night, you got to take their hope away. You give Stafford too much hope and put the ball in his hands at the end. It's not a situation you want to be in. And we had every chance to avoid that situation a number of times, and we came up short.
Now, you give a quarterback like Matt Stafford time in the pocket, first of all, because he had a lot of time during that game. He was sacked for 3 times, but that's not enough. He should have been sacked at least 6, 7 times. You needed to make this guy punch drunk that he could not get back into the game. This Rams team just got absolutely obliterated by the Arizona Cardinals. And I don't think their defense is all that great. Yeah, Budda Baker's having a nice year, but you have Nick Bosa, DPOI. Oh, it's just... Malik Collins got a sack. Javon Hargrave got a sack. Where was Bosa? I didn't hear his name called. I didn't. All right, Sam's not in the back, so I'm going blind here on the phone lines. I'm just going to go to whoever's on hold right here. So 888-957-9570. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What do you got? You're on the pregame show. Hello?
Hey, it's JT out of San Jose. Good morning, brother.
Oh, what's up, bro? How we doing?
Not too bad. I mean, it's a little hard to watch sometimes, but, I can give you 2 things for sure. You got to cut Bell. Get rid of that. He's a college kid. He's not ready for the big boy football. Drops, never has been there. And another thing, too, Hufanga does not belong on the field. Could not take his first step. I've had 2 ACL surgeries. That guy was afraid to take the first step. Did not hit. Showed up late. Diving before the person was there. He's hesitant. He's not ready. I don't know why we don't have the rookie in there. At least he has the thumper going on there, and he has the speed to back it up. Hufanga was totally not ready. You could see that he was late in coverage. When you're playing safety, you should be the deepest guy, not the guy that's 5-10 yards, before the receiver. It was a little tough to watch. The defensive coordinator, I don't know. I mean, you see what I see. I just don't see a lot of. We're rushing hand to hand in front of people instead of stunting, being being tactical in what we do. It's just quite hard to do. I'll take the $7 million guy over to the $30 million guy. You know what? Somebody's got more heart than the other guy showing up because one got paid and the other one's still hungry. It's going to be a tough year for us. But, I believe in our guys. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, who's ever playing the best ball at the end of the season, that's what tells the story. Yeah, get your stuff together, that's for sure. That offensive line, Purdy. All those doubters, all those people talking all that stuff about Purdy, that boy went out and handled it with nobody. You don't have a starting tight end. You don't have your wide receiver. You don't have your running back. And these guys are all top 15, top 20 guys in the NFL, studs. You didn't have any of those. You're playing with 3rd, 4th, 5th people out there, and he did a hell of a job. So I give a lot of love to Purdy because I love the kid. He's a very intelligent kid, and he goes up and he plays football like he should. Besides that little cheap shot that Verse did on his knee, I didn't like that one. But other than that, buddy, man, have a great morning. We'll get over it. Next week's next week, so let's move on to the next one.
There you go. Appreciate you, man. That's AJ out in San Jose, 888-957-9570. Who deserves the blame for that loss? Who's taking that loss the hardest yesterday? Is it the defense? Is it Brandon Ayuk? You're hearing AJ list them all off right there. Ronnie Bell. Special teams. Sorensen. Who? I just keep going back to what has plagued Kyle Shanahan his whole tenure as head coach. And the one constant, because they've had good defenses. They've always had a great offense, it feels like. It's the special teams. It's anything but special when it's Kyle Shanahan as the head coach. And you saw how important it is. It feels like it gets slept on a lot because it is 3 phases of football. In the special teams, there's a kickoff still. There's punt return. It matters. And when the Moody missed field goal and the Rams fake punt, and then this punt return to basically ice the game late.
43-yard punt. Here comes Smith. Xavier Smith, the first touch of his NFL career, takes the Rams out near midfield.
The first touch of his career, and you let that happen? Like, come on. And I got to keep saying this. The Rams got absolutely obliterated last week against the Cardinals. Oh, week-to-week league. Yeah, the Panthers, they got blasted last week. Yeah, they did. And the Rams don't have anyone. Like, you can look up down. I was literally looking at this roster. I was looking at all these people. Troy Reeder, Quentin Lake, Christian Roseboom, Cameron Curl, Cameron Kitchens, Kobe Turner. I've heard of him. Kobe Durant. Sure. Byron Young, Jared Verse, rookie out of Florida State. Bobby Brown III. It's my prerogative. Tre'Davious White. You've heard of him. Neville Gallimore. No, that's a character from Harry Potter. Come on. Braden Fisk. Wilson Fisk? Kingpin? Come on. Like, just go on the other side. And AJ in San Jose was a little hard on Talanoa Hufanga. First game back, torn ACL. I'd give him some grace. Although the front flip from Kyron Williams over him was not the best look. I think that was just more style points for Kyron Williams. Give him 10 extra fantasy points, by the way. Admin fantasy. For that front flip into the end zone. I think we should start instituting that. Have some people with like some scorecards a la the Olympics. Start grading them. I'm mad at that. But Hufanga didn't have his best game. But you start comparing them, just the names alone. Charvarius Ward, an All-Pro. Talanoa Hufanga, an All-Pro. Leonard Floyd. Has he ever been an All-Pro? Maybe, at some point. He's a double-digit sack guy. Did I hear his name called at all yesterday? No. Diamonor Lenore wants to get paid. Made some plays. Fred Warner might be one of the best defensive players in football. Not even might. He is. Nick Bosa, DPOI. So you start going down this list of players. There's no reason why you should be giving up 27 against this Rams squad. There's just no reason. 888-957-9570. We got to take a quick break. Come on back. More of your calls, more of your texts. I want to hear from some of the players on the other side. Brock Purdy, Fred Warner, and more from Kyle Shanahan as the 49ers fall 27-24 to Los Angeles Rams. They're 1-2 now, heading back to Levi Stadium to take on the Patriots next week. But we're reacting to this game all day long right here on 95.7 The Game. Your only place where you want the best red and gold conversations. And shout out to Madsen, shout out to Grandy, shout out to Sterling Bennett yesterday, shout out to Evan Giddings, Low Neal, doing the pregame coverage, crushing it all Sunday long, all year long right here again, 95.7 The Game. Pregame show rolls on. Come on back.
Did you know when you purchase lumber and building materials from Golden State, it's like picking a...
Spadoni. You're listening to the Pregame Show with Joe Spadoni. Right here on 95.7 The Game.
Purdy steps up, looks deep, Ronnie Bell! Hold on! The problems that have plagued Ronnie Bell for his 2 seasons in the league creep up there. Could not hang on to that ball that hit him in the hands.
And there's 5 in a game. We're rotating a lot of guys in there. And no, he was the guy out there. Chris Conley got that earlier in the game, but those 3 receivers we have up, Ronnie's been having a hell of a camp, had a hell of a week of practicing, but he's got to come down with a catch.
Adam Amin on the call, Fox Sports. You just heard from Kyle Shanahan talking about it. Ronnie Bell with another drop, plagued him the last couple seasons. It's tough, man. But again, if you're in a position late, and I get it, you're without Christian McCaffrey, you're without Deebo Samuel, without George Kittle, so someone's got to step up. Juwan Jennings stepped up most of the day. Ronnie Bell, his name was called. He didn't execute. But if you're in a position late where you're trying to rely on Ronnie Bell, who can't catch a cold, that's kind of on you for being in that situation to begin with. So welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Pregame show, Joe Spadoni. Rams 27, Niners 24, the final. Both teams now 1-2 on the season, as the Seattle Seahawks are leading the NFC West after 3 weeks at 3-0. Everyone else is 1-2. It's kind of a mixed bag between all those. Honestly, Cardinals, Rams, Niners, they're all kind of similar. I think the Rams have the most impressive win out of all of them. I know the Niners beat the Jets week 1, and I don't know what to make of the Jets yet. We'll see. Arizona had absolutely destroyed the Rams last week. And the Rams just, again, who are absolutely decimated right now, just kind of kicked the Niners defense's ass. It was relatively healthy. Yes, no Dre Greenlaw, but outside of that, and I know he's a big loss. I know. You don't think the loss of this season without an Aaron Donald is huge? You don't think the loss of all your starting offensive linemen basically for the Rams isn't huge? I'm not here for that excuse at all. There are no excuses for the defense and the special teams in this game for the San Francisco 49ers. None at all. And again, it's unfortunate because Brock Purdy played his ass off. And I would like to be coming in here today talking about that performance and how great he was, but it's going to be put on the back burner a little bit. Because we hyped up this game so much. Oh, here's Brock without his weapons. Here's Brock without his weapons. Yeah, this Rams defense, they don't have a lot of people. He should dice them up. Well, he did dice them up. 22 of 30, 292 yards and 3 touchdowns. What do you call that? 137.1 quarterback rating. It's pretty freaking good. Did have the lost fumble. That was tough. But he bounced back. I mean, this play alone, this is the one for me. And I know he had that one long scramble and ended up dumping off to Juwan for 5 yards. He had that one where he slid for a couple yards too. But this one where he dove for the first down was incredible in the third quarter.
Purdy under pressure. Got away from first. Trying to looking for the first down. And they will give it to him seemingly.
It was incredible. He was using his legs everywhere. He was like Superman when he dove for that ball. I cannot sing the praises enough of one Brock Purdy. It's unfortunate, though, that the defense let their quarterback down. Here's the quarterback himself talking about the team having a high standard, win or lose.
It's pretty high for all of us, and the standard that we have of, obviously winning and closing out games. And when you got a 14-point lead, obviously anything can happen. But for us, it's like, all right, we have the momentum. Let's run with it. We have a good enough team to finish out a game, pretty early and put up points every drive offensively. We're all pretty frustrated. So we just got to watch the film, get better from it. And we win and lose as a team. Everyone has their moments. But, man, more than anything, I just feel like it comes down to complimentary football, man. Once the defense gets a stop, we have to score. And we have to be hard on ourselves with that. And just everything all together tied in. So it's 4 quarters of that. You miss out on an opportunity and give the other team life. It's the NFL, man. The guys on the other side are really good, and they'll make you pay for it. So we had to learn the hard way today.
Theme yesterday, as I was watching all these upsets take place, whether it was the Panthers, whether it was the Broncos, whether it was the Rams, if you don't get pressure on the opposing team's quarterback, I don't care what the team is. I don't care the expectations of the team. I don't care if it's Bo Nix. I don't care if it's Andy Dalton. And you better get pressure on a guy like Matt Stafford, who's a borderline Hall of Famer. And you saw that in all three of those games yesterday. It was the early slate game, Bucks-Broncos. I think everyone felt great about Baker Mayfield and that team heading into that game. They got their asses kicked. Baker got sacked like 7 times. And they couldn't get any pressure on Bo Nix. And Bo Nix probably had the best rookie quarterback performance this year. I mean, when you asked Caleb Williams to throw 52 times yesterday if you're the Bears, I don't know what you're doing. They just, that offense is just a mess. But you give any quarterback in this league time, they will make you pay. Bo Nix, a rookie. Andy Dalton against the Raiders yesterday. Everyone's saying, oh, the Red Rifle. Oh, Bryce Young, he's benched. Oh, let's see if Andy Dalton will do any better. Well, he did. Final score didn't do that justice. Game wasn't even close. Max Crosby dealing with a high ankle sprain. He couldn't touch Andy Dalton yesterday. Couldn't touch him. And I don't care if it's Adam Thielen and a bunch of other guys. I think Adam Thielen ended up leaving after the second or third quarter anyways. You don't get pressure, you will get picked apart. And that's what happened yesterday when Matt Stafford delivered the hammer.
Another play fake. Another deep throw. Looking for Tutu. Down inside the 5.
The arm talent is still there for Matt Stafford. That has not gone away. Guy's got an absolute cannon. He's had it since Georgia, and he's had it, 15, 16 years later since he's been in the NFL. God, it's crazy how long he's been there. I think since I was a freshman in high school. I think that's when he got, or maybe my sophomore year. It's when he got drafted, 2008. Something like that. Man, time flies. Whew, scary. I want to hear from the captain of the defense, though, Fred Warner. Back-to-back weeks. Fred, you see him all over the screen. He's trying to do his best. He's flying all over the place. Last week was an incredible performance. Not as good of a performance this week from one Fred Warner, but I still see him on my screen constantly trying to make plays, flying all over the place. He'll tell you, this loss is unacceptable.
It was unacceptable. We can't do that. We can't beat ourselves, can't make those type of mistakes. Again, all 3 phases got to play better. We'll look at the tape, fix it, and move on.
Here's more from Fred.
Ideally, you don't want that lesson. Feel like you got the right guys in the group. You got enough veteran leadership to understand situations and when to put them away. Obviously, I put a lot on the defense, especially in certain moments to put them away, and we're unable to do that. But you got to learn from a loss and make the changes. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you at the end of the day. You got to get back to work and keep chopping.
Is it too early in the season to panic, Fred?
It's tough. You do have to remember that it's early, but at the same time, you can't use that as an excuse to slack off and think, oh, we have all this time to get things right. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like that was the mindset at all going into this week. We understood the situation and we want to get back on track. It just, we didn't play good enough.
888-957-9570. We got one more break coming up here. One more segment before handing it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. More of your calls, more of your text on the other side. The blame game. Who are you blaming for this loss for the San Francisco 49ers yesterday as the Rams come back to beat them 27-24 the final as both teams are now 1-2. We'll wrap up this show on the other side and hand it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky on 95.7 The Game.
Uncle, Kate's going to leave me and I need your advice.
What's the problem, John?
She thinks
in the game with Joe Spadoni.
Purdy, the shuffle, the throw, Jennings up top. Oh my goodness! Did he just make that catch? And then he gives the Sinat celebration.
It was just incredible yesterday. Adam Amin on the call for Fox Sports. Welcome in. Final segment here of the pregame show before handing it off to Bonte Hill, Joe Shasta, the morning roast. Just Purdy put on a performance yesterday. That's not what we're talking about. Talking about the team losing because they couldn't stop Matt Stafford and Kyron Williams and Tutu Atwell and Demarcus Robinson and Jordan Whittington, 6th-round pick out of Texas. Colby Parkinson, Tyler Johnson. How's it? You couldn't stop those guys. The defense, man. It's a problem. You paid Leonard Floyd this money, and I was on the bandwagon. I thought Leonard Floyd was going to have a great game. He was primed to have a good performance. The Rams' offensive line's decimated. You just need to stack the box heading into this game. Make sure Kyron Williams don't beat you, and then get Matt Stafford in 3rd and long scenarios. But they got those chunk plays after chunk plays on 1st down, 2nd down. They made it 3rd and manageable. And when you have 3rd and manageable with a quarterback like Matt Stafford, you can use those short intermediate routes. You can dump it off to Kyron Williams occasionally. You can do a quick slant. They did not put enough pressure on Matt Stafford yesterday. You did not make his life difficult enough yesterday. Fred Warner on the play of the game potentially, which again goes back to special teams, was the fake punt.
But at the end of the day, sudden change, you're going to be in those situations throughout a game. Obviously, you don't want to be in that situation, but offensively, we can't give up 7 points or 6 points right there. We got to hold them either to a field goal, get a takeaway. We had no takeaways today. Usually, if we're minus in the takeaway margin, we're going to have a hard chance of winning.
Again, I said it. You cannot just dominate one phase of a football game and expect to win. It's 3 phases, and I sound like I'm a coach right now, doing coach talk, but you have to dominate all 3 phases. And if you're not going to dominate all 3 phases, you better at least dominate 2 of them if you want a chance to win. You just dominate one, that's not a good team. That's just a one-dimensional offense, which is right now what the San Francisco 49ers kind of are. They're a one-dimensional team right now. Hey, Brock, do your thing. That's not good enough. Look at yesterday. Look at last night specifically. And I get it. There should have been a DPI call, but I'm not getting into that right now. But the Kansas City Chiefs. One thing I keep coming back to watching them is complementary football. Whether it's special teams, whether it's Butker making the kicks he's supposed to make, whether it's, the punter. Who do they got now? Do they got Ariza, right? Whether it's him, whether it's, Chris Jones stepping up for the defensive line, whether it's Nick Bolton crashing through there, and I don't know what that play call was there. It might as well have just done a quarterback sneak with Kirk Cousins. I don't know what that was. Never go east-west on 4th and inches. That was just a horrible play call. God, anything else there? Atlanta's got to be sick about that game. They probably should have won. But you look at that. You look at the offense. Yeah, Mahomes had a pick. He comes back, gets a touchdown to Rashee Rice. Complementary football in all 3 phases. That's why the Rams won yesterday. It's why the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. It's why the 49ers don't yet have a Super Bowl. And it's why they're 1-2 right now. Last 2 weeks has not been good enough. And yes, does that loss against the Vikings sting a little bit less knowing that they're legit and that they just absolutely kicked the crap out of the Texans? Sure, maybe a tiny bit. But losing this game to the Rams is much, much worse. Considering where the Rams are at with their depth chart and considering they just got their asses kicked against another division rival in the Arizona Cardinals last week. And this is supposed to be Levi's South. I mean, hell, you heard all the cheers and oohs and ahs when the Niners were scoring yesterday. This was on the verge of a blowout early. They're up 14-0. 14-0. Purdy to Jennings to get the party started.
The first of his career. Fake toss. Purdy looking. Wide open man. It's Jawan Jennings. It's a San Francisco touchdown.
And again.
Purdy stepping up. Pressure coming. Purdy throws on the move to the end zone. It's a touchdown.
14-0. Just like that. They were rolling. Until they weren't. That's the thing. They get in these little lulls, if you will. You let a team hang around, let alone Matt Stafford and Sean McVay, who have won a Super Bowl together, let alone a division rival. Like, they will make you pay. Again, that might have been the most impressive performance of the weekend, just considering where this Rams team is at. Given their history against Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers as of late, I think that was the most impressive victory of the weekend. You can go Andy Dalton and the Panthers. I said it last week on Friday. I had zero faith in the Raiders that they would cover that game. Well, I was not giving them that slam dunk win. Hell, I think the line started out like a 6.5 and it moved all the way down to 5. Money was coming in on the Panthers. I should have sprinkled some on there, to be honest now. I feel foolish. By the way, Anthony Dalton, only quarterback this season with 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Brock Purdy came close. He had 292 and 3 touchdowns. But Andy Dalton and a red rifle, his first start of the year, he was able to do it. Quarterback play is still just odd right now. I don't know what to make of it. Justin Fields looks like he's found a home in Pittsburgh. That was a weird game. Herbert, he's hurt. He left, didn't come back. Taylor Heineke came in. You got Hurts trying to gag the game away, but you had Derek Carr on the other side who just was not good at all. First game with legit expectations, and he wets the bed. Shocker. But big win for Philly nonetheless, 15-12. The final there, kind of a weird score. And like I mentioned earlier, the Broncos, early start time for them all the way on the East Coast in Tampa, just kicking their ass, 26-7. If it makes you feel any better, Niners fans, there's no team in the NFC that should scare you right now. Detroit, big win over the Cardinals. Again, Cardinals are a sneaky, tough team right now. They might be battling for the NFC West when it's all said and done. Seahawks, another team in the NFC West, they just keep winning. Albeit against not the greatest quarterback competition, but they don't care. They just keep stacking up the wins. Geno Smith writing back? I don't think so. Even the Giants won yesterday. Now everyone's got to win, right? Panthers won, Giants won. Everyone's winning. Yay.
Oh my gosh!
From the Xfinity Mobile text line, 888-957-9570. 925, the 49ers are just flat out overrated. I'm not going to say that. Not the team as a whole, because again, I think it's early. But we definitely overrated this defensive line. I did specifically. I'll wear it. You know what? That's on me. I'll be the fall guy. Shout out Chris Carter. I gassed up this 49ers defensive line with the additions of Leonard Floyd, Yetur Gross-Matos. I thought it was going to be a bounce-back season for Javon Hargrave. I thought Nick Bosa, you know what? He's going to have a bounce-back year as well. Full season. He's got training camp. He's got OTAs. He's fired up. He's playing a lot more snaps. I thought this was going to be a great defensive line. And so far, it's been underwhelming. It's been lacking in imagination. It's been vanilla. It's just been boring. That's the worst thing. It's just been boring. Like Fred Warner's trying his best. Nick Bosa last week had a good game, but that's not enough. That's not going to be enough. Not if you want to win a Super Bowl. And that's the ultimate goal of this season, is to get back and try to win a Super Bowl. Right now, you just got to worry about getting into the playoffs. Again, week 3, there's a lot of overreactions happening today. There's going to be a lot from fans and the callers, and I get it. You're angry, you're upset. I'm not ready to say the team as a whole is overrated. But there are certain aspects, absolutely, that we did overrate. And I think we underrated some other aspects. I think we underrated Brock Purdy. Again, 22 of 30, 292, 3 touchdowns, all to Juwan Jennings. And has Juwan Jennings already usurped Brandon Ayuk in the circle of trust? We're going back to Meet the Parents here, or Meet the Fockers. The circle of trust right now, here it is. Here's Juwan Jennings. And here's Brandon Ayuk. It's not where you want to be. All right? I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? It's all time. That's one of those comfort movies for me. I can just go back and watch it ad nauseum. Comfort for me right now is not watching the 49ers. I'll tell you that. It is not a comfortable watch because they should have blown them out. Like, that's what's most frustrating about that. When you go up 14-0, you have basically the home crowd. You have a team that is already down in the dumps that has already gotten blown out last week, and you give them some life, whether it's a fake punt, whether it's a fumble, you give them any sorts of life, they'll start to get that belief back in them. You need to have their minds filled with doubt early. And it was. But you give them any semblance of hope. Sean McVay and Matt Stafford have won a Super Bowl together. They know what it takes to get there. And whether it's Kyron Williams being the number one, whether it's Tutu freaking Atwell, Demarcus Robinson, like, that was unacceptable from the San Francisco 49ers defense, from Kyle Shanahan, from the specialists, from everyone losing that game yesterday. You know, it's not unacceptable. Morning Roast. They're coming up next. Bonte Hill, Joe Shasky, 95.7 The Game. Let's go.
You're listening to 95.